My name is Melissa Carter. I'm 34 years old, married to a good man named Jonathan, and have been working at a marketing firm in downtown Chicago for nearly 6 years. Life, by all outward appearances, is stable and comfortable. But comfort, I've learned, can feel a lot like confinement. And it was that realization, slowly dawning on me over the last year, that set off a chain of events I never imagined. It all started when we hired a new senior strategist named Marcus Bennett. Marcus is tall, confident, intelligent, and charming, traits that make him not only good at his job but magnetic in every room he enters. His voice is deep, his laugh warm, and he has this way of making you feel like you're the only person in the world when he talks to you. It didn't take long for people in the office to start talking about him. Even married women like me weren't immune to his appeal. At first, I thought it was harmless. Harmless to notice, harmless to smile a little longer, to glance when I thought he wouldn't notice. But Marcus noticed. One Thursday afternoon, while we were staying late to finalize a pitch for an important client, I caught him watching me across the conference room. Our eyes met, and something unspoken passed between us. Something charged. He smiled, and I smiled back. Nothing more was said, but it lingered. After that, our conversations became more frequent, more personal. We talked about movies, music, our favorite places to travel. We even joked about office politics. He'd compliment me on my ideas during meetings and send casual messages that felt just a bit too friendly. My marriage at the time was in a routine phase. Jonathan is a sweet man, dependable, responsible, the type who always makes sure the bills are paid and the cars are serviced. But he's not spontaneous. He's not the type to notice when I wear a new dress or change my hair. Over time, our connection dulled. We still shared dinners, still talked about work and errands and plans for the weekend, but the spark had long since faded. With Marcus, that spark felt blinding. It wasn't long before he started walking me to my car. First, it was casual, just two coworkers leaving the building at the same time. Then, he started waiting for me at the elevator, holding the door, offering to carry my laptop bag. One night, while we were walking to the parking garage, he said something that made my heart race. "You know, I look forward to seeing you every day." I didn't know what to say. I smiled, laughed it off. But inside, I felt like a teenager again. My mind kept replaying that moment. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay next to Jonathan, staring at the ceiling, wondering what I was doing and why I couldn't stop thinking about another man. The next week, we were both assigned to a new campaign. It meant late nights, brainstorming sessions, and dozens of emails and text messages. Marcus's texts started including emojis. Jokes. Once, he sent me a photo of a sunset over Lake Michigan with the message, "Thought you'd like this. Beautiful things should be shared." I knew it was crossing a line, and yet I responded. I told him the view was gorgeous, that it made me smile. The more we texted, the more I craved the attention. I started dressing more carefully for work. New lipstick, more perfume. I told myself it was just to feel confident, but deep down I knew who I wanted to notice. One Friday, we attended a networking mixer downtown. Marcus and I arrived separately, but once there, we gravitated toward each other. We talked, laughed, and after a couple glasses of wine, I realized I was standing far too close. He leaned in and whispered, "You're amazing. You know that, right?" I felt my heart pounding. I looked around. Nobody seemed to notice. But I knew this was more than just office flirtation now. It had become emotional. And that's when the guilt began creeping in. I started avoiding Marcus at work, keeping my responses short, not lingering at the coffee machine. I tried to focus on Jonathan, on my home, on repairing the quiet distance that had formed between us. But the damage was already done. Emotionally, I had crossed a line. One evening, after a stressful day, I broke down. Jonathan asked me what was wrong. I said I was just overwhelmed. He hugged me, kissed my forehead, and told me everything would be okay. And for a moment, I wanted to believe him. But the heart is stubborn. Marcus noticed my withdrawal. He asked if everything was okay. I told him we should keep things professional. He respected that. But then, a week later, he sent me a video, an old clip of a song we'd once talked about. It wasn't suggestive or inappropriate. It was sentimental, familiar. It was his way of saying he missed the connection. I watched it late at night, with headphones in, lying beside my sleeping husband. Tears streamed down my face. I didn't know why. Maybe it was the guilt, or the ache of wanting something I couldn't have or shouldn't want. The next day, I asked Marcus to meet me in the lobby during lunch. I told him I couldn't do this anymore, that I loved my husband, and whatever this was, it needed to end. He looked disappointed but nodded. "I never meant to cause you pain," he said. I believed him. That night, I told Jonathan I wanted us to go away for the weekend. Just the two of us. Somewhere quiet. We booked a cabin near Lake Geneva. We talked, really talked for the first time in months. I told him how I'd been feeling, unseen, disconnected, lonely. He listened, apologized. We promised to try harder. I deleted Marcus's number, archived the messages. It wasn't easy. The fantasy had been tempting. But in the end, I realized what I truly wanted was to feel loved, desired, and valued in my marriage, not just by someone who barely knew me. It's been 4 months. Things with Jonathan are better now. We still have work to do, but we're trying. And sometimes, when I think back to Marcus, I don't feel guilt or regret. I feel grateful. Because sometimes, the temptation that threatens everything is also the wake-up call you need to fight for what matters most.